This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. For more great podcasts, head over to bigheadsmedia.com.
Previously on TV Tuners.
I have to find Kyorain and take him out.
This isn't even my final form.
I've got the Tojo clan's 100 billion yen.
What? You think I could just put holes in the Swiss cheese?
The Black Knight has impaled Stairmaster?
Leave Stairmaster to me.
And now, TV Tuners continues.
Hi there, folks, and welcome to TV Tuners. It's a television podcast for the true fanatics. It's a weekly dive in the latest in TV news and reviews. I'm your host, Swanson. With me, as always, is my co-host and sexually promiscuous rabbit girl, Kyorain.
Hey, how's it going? How'd I know that was gonna be me?
I don't know, you just got a rabbit girl vibe about you, Kyorain.
Oh, that's really flattering, thank you.
Yeah, you're just a real down-to-earth girl.
Yeah, I'm ready for sexual intercourse with anyone who comes on by.
Apparently. Is that... I didn't even... Okay, maybe it's because I was, like, doing some other stuff while watching this, but I didn't even track that it's, like, maybe a rabbit thing, that she's sexually promiscuous.
That could be it. That's what I was thinking, maybe. I don't know.
Stairmaster is on assignment, so he is not here today. He's deep in the Himalayan jungles.
Yeah, hopefully not doing any kind of, like, war crimes.
Yeah, well, it remains to be seen, but yeah, with Stairmaster, it's hard to tell. So with us this week, and the chooser of this show, that's the only way I could have phrased that, is guest and popular deer student. Is that right? Anyway, Connie's here.
That's me. I have no friends, and I view everyone around me as means to an end.
Oh, well, that seems reasonable.
That's healthy.
Yeah. Yes, Connie is here for this this episode. Your third go around. This makes you the most times that anybody's been on the show guest wise. So congrats.
Like I got that TV Tuners 3 times challenge.
That's right. And this is a show you specifically requested.
Now, I figured I was going to end up on the show one way or another again eventually. There's literally no one else I can allow you to cover this particular show with, so yeah.
Yeah. And of course, loyal TV Tuners listeners will know that normally we don't watch anime until near the end of the year when we've run out of shows. But we made an exception because Connie is a faithful friend and listener.
Yeah, we watched the Beastars show, and since it's a furry show and Connie's a furry, this had to happen.
Yeah.
It did. You would think this would be more... We'll get into this more later. You would think this would be more laser focused on my interests. You might be interested to find how I feel about the 2 episodes you watched.
I am actually kind of interested, but we'll wait on that because we got other stuff to get to, of course. It's a regular episode of TV Tuners. So with that out of the way, of course, if you like what you're hearing so far, why not consider subscribing? We're available on all of the podcatchers of your choice: Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and more. We're available on any of them, and you can go ahead and give a subscribe and maybe a 5-star review. That'd be greatly appreciated by us. And while you're at it, why not go ahead and find us on Twitter?
No way.
Yeah, we're on Twitter at TV Tuners.
Oh wow! Look at this profile picture on the account.
Yeah, it's just our helpful friend Dylan McDermott from last week's episode, Hollywood.
Great guy.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, tune in on Dylan McDermott. You can also use the hashtag TV Tuners, and we'll give a glance at what you're saying. And before we get into the tweet of the week this week, which we're still doing despite Stairmaster's relocation, I want to remind everybody, of course, if you have any quips, comments, questions, foresights, or otherwise, you can send them to us at tvtunerspodcast@gmail.com. What's that email, Keo Rain?
That would be tvtunerspodcast@gmail.org.
That's right. Send them to us post haste. Do not delay. And with that out of the way, we have a guest version of the tweet of the week. Hit us with it, Connie.
All right, so there you go. Just gonna drop that in here. I'm gonna let somebody else read it. This is my selection. You're gonna talk about it.
Ooh, okay. Calling the shots. I like it. All right, I will read this tweet from @SnakeFactsDaily. Snake fact number 910. The movie Snakes on a Plane, movie Snakes on Planes is widely considered anti-serpentine propaganda and is banned in 248 countries.
Okay, yeah, you actually got me on that one. Snakes on Planes.
I picked this one out, and I've read it at least a dozen times in preparation to present it. And I read it as Snakes on a Plane every time. My brain is just on complete autocomplete mode.
Yeah, this is...
Yeah, so is this an actual film that's not Snakes on a Plane?
Let me do some Googling real quick. Talk amongst yourselves.
Some quick research.
Yeah, Snakes on Planes. Or is it plane or planes?
Planes. Like, there's more than one plane.
Snakes on Planes.
All of them have at least one snake on them.
Google seems to indicate that is not the case, and that Snakes on a Plane is the only intention you could have.
Okay,
now, only the Secret Society gets to watch the sequel to Snakes on a Plane, which is what this is talking about.
Yeah.
So is there some kind of, like, snake series of countries where, first of all, this film exists, and also where the film is banned?
Yeah, is this like the underground snake society? Not to be confused with like gross conspiracy theories. I'm just talking about actual snakes who run societies.
No, well, the snake people or Sneeple that are in charge of this account don't want you to investigate further into the fact that it says 248 countries.
Yeah, that's a lot of...
Which is more countries than there are.
Yeah, that's a lot of countries.
Right, that's what I'm thinking, that there's a lot of snakes, like, I don't know, in, like, underground pits just climbing on top of each other. They could form a country, right?
Yeah, I think snake pits are considered a country by snake standards.
All right, so I'm going to tune out on this tweet.
Yes, I don't mind snakes, but I don't like this tweet. Tune out.
Yeah, the concept of a series of entire nations where they not only have film that I'm not aware of, but also are banning film that I'm not aware of is deeply unsettling to me.
Yeah.
And I'm frightened and upset.
I'm
glad that we got some good anti-censorship representation here.
Yeah, I'm considering invading one of these snakedoms just to spread sort of my vision of democracy.
Just remember, red touch yellow, killed fellow, red touch black. Don't look back.
Oh, okay. That's helpful advice, I think.
Okay, are you going to tune in or tune out on this tweet, Connie?
I'm tuning in on Snakes on a Plane, which is finally getting Snakes on Plane. Fuck, it got me again. Tuning in on Snakes on Planes, the Secret Society Snake People and or Sneeple sequel to Snakes on a Plane.
What about the tweet itself?
Tune out.
All right. Well, that's a tune out. Sadly, Snake Facts Daily. Better luck next time. A winner is not you.
And maybe present some less upsetting facts next time.
Yeah. Don't make me think about like a whole underground snake dumb going on.
Well, there's a snake fact every day. We could try to find another one.
Ooh. Maybe save it for another tweet of the week.
Okay. I'm gonna a year and a half from now, we're gonna be right back on this account.
Yeah, with
I'll
snake fact number 1200.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time. They're so close to snake fact 1000.
That's gonna be a big one. Probably like there's a giant snake like in the sky or something.
Ooh, the sky snake. Yeah, or like maybe like confirmation that Snake Way is real.
Oh man!
All right,
don't fall off.
Yeah, you don't want to know what happens when you fall off.
Filler.
All right. Well, that's been the tweet of the week. So let's get into what you guys watched this week. Anything fun, interesting, at all?
For some reason, I decided to rewatch part of Death Note.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
what part?
I wanted to rewatch the part after L died. Spoilers.
Oh, so the bad part.
Yeah, the bad part. I mean, yeah, it definitely does kind of fall apart.
Yeah, bad might be a bit like harsh. I think it's just below the tier that it was at before.
Yeah, it fully loses the level of I don't know groundedness it managed to maintain until that point, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it was already losing it, but after that point, it was just like, yeah, the story's over. Let's just wrap it up.
I always have such a shitty, not accurate recollection of that entire sequence of events between Elle dying and right before the last two episodes. Like, that's a complete haze to me.
Yeah. That finale's still good, though.
Yeah, the finale's fun. It's not really too much to recall because it goes by really quickly and nothing super compelling happens. It's just like Light has these basically flimsy schemes and Nier sees right through them and then he gets caught.
Yeah.
You know, does this compare well to Twin Peaks if you consider, like, Death Note does kind of have a second season?
Huh.
And Death Note Season 1 is good, and part of Season 2 is good. And then it ends a plot thread that was the whole reason for the show being good, and then it's just shitty until the end.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Although I would say that Twin Peaks, it wasn't actually the fault of the creators that time, because there was like editorial pressure by the networks. I don't think the creator of Death Note was pressured into killing Elle.
No, I don't think so either. Did you see that follow-up, like, sequel series comic on Death Note?
Yeah, isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
That has Donald Trump in it?
That was fun.
That was all right. That was a good little comic.
The ending was a big oof, but I would recommend people read that.
I heard about it, but I did not know Donald Trump was in it.
Yeah, it's
The sinister Japanese are making comics about me.
No, like someone gets their hands on the Death Note and then they just try to like sell it anonymously. And like different world leaders are offering different amounts of trillions or quadrillions of dollars to get their hands on it.
If I had a Death Note, you would all know.
I got the Death Note. Now we're safe. We're gonna do a lot of good things with this book.
Listen, we're gonna do great things with this book. America will never be second fiddle again, folks.
China should be on notice now that I've got this book. Let me tell you, folks.
It doesn't name him, but it is obviously him. Like,
yeah,
they just drew him.
Yeah.
Connie, did you have anything you wanted to talk about, watch-wise?
I mean, I barely watch TV. I brought up Twin Peaks just a little bit ago because, that's always going to occupy a certain amount of my brain. I've been watching a 5-hour explanation by YouTube channel Twin Perfect on what Twin Peaks is actually about. And in about 1 hour, it has taken me from completely clueless on certain scenes to finding the meanings of them pretty obvious and straightforward.
It sounds like a pretty good video. I've never watched Twin Peaks, but it's supposed to be good.
Yeah.
part of it, you
Most of
said?
it. A good majority of it is good. Well, about a third of it is good.
That's devastating.
But it's that third is
Well,
that third
just
is really good.
Just keep lowering the bars. Like, yeah, there's like a couple like good shots in like one episode, you know.
Well, that first season and then half of season 2 is good, and then the last episode of season 2 is good, and then parts of season 3 are good.
Right, so I'll just watch that.
And the movie is fine.
So
Okay, I'll read the Wikipedia summary of the movie.
just read the entire thing on the stream right now. There you
Really,
go.
the only thing you need to watch from the movie are all of the scenes with David Bowie in them, and then that's about it.
Okay. What were you gonna say, Connie?
So last time I was on the stream, I talked about
Stream?
In the time stream, yeah.
the pod. Yeah, the time stream saved me from my vocal foibles. The last time I was on the pod, I talked about Yakuza 0, a game that I was playing.
And
Having finished that, I will say that is my favorite crime drama. Not just crime drama in video game form, but my favorite crime drama story at all.
yeah, it's it looked like it was a lot of good stuff in that.
I've recently finished Yakuza Kiwami, which is a remake of Yakuza 1.
Yeah, I watched
that's way worse.
I briefly watched Connie play some Yakuza game, and he's fighting some like dance man or something.
Oh yes,
Yes, I've also
That seemed pretty fun.
I've also watched Connie streaming this back in my quarantine days when I had the ability to do such a thing.
yeah. Yakuza Kiwami being a remake of a game from 2005. The writing is way, way, way worse all the time, and they added a bunch of extra scenes to better flesh out characters that weren't in the original. And if it wasn't for those, this game would have fallen so flat. I don't know. If you want to play this series, just play 0, and that's really the only one you need. And if you absolutely need to play more of them, you can, but just that one prequel game is fine.
So, what is the compelling core of the Yakuza 0 story?
Yakuza 0 is about a young upstart in a Yakuza crime family getting framed for murder and trying to get out of that. But it also ends up being about trying to discover why all the wealthiest and like most powerful crime organizations are trying to buy up a plot of land called the Empty Lot, which is just a little bit of pavement sandwiched in between some buildings that nobody at the initial start of the story really understands why it's worth so much. And it's all about digging into, these different crime families and why they want this particular land and this particular spot so badly that they're willing to just kill people wantonly just to get a hold of it, just to figure out who has the deed. And I don't know, it's real estate drama in a way.
Best kind of drama.
Yes. I'm going to give a shout out this week to the comedy specials Middleditch and Schwartz. It's Netflix's first foray into improv comedy specials, which sounds terrible, but turns out to be very funny. From two comedians, Thomas Middleditch, from otherwise known as That Guy from Silicon Valley, and Ben Schwartz, aka the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Wait,
did you say Sonic?
Which Sonic?
Like the new movie, he's the voice of Sonic in the new movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say that can't be right, because that's Sonic in the video games right now is also shares a voice with Chris Redfield.
Oh yeah,
which is fucking weird.
Yeah, it's also weird to believe. But no, this is these two boys. They get up there, they talk to somebody in the audience, and then they do about 40 to 50 minutes worth of improv that goes to some wild places. The standout episode, I personally think, is one that involves a class of students taking a law test with a very cool teacher who leaves halfway through, and then there's a mysterious German student who may or may not be harboring an alien.
I'm harboring an alien.
That sounds. I don't know if it sounds funny, but it does definitely sounds interesting.
It's pretty funny. I don't think I could. I don't know if I would ever be recommending comedy specials very much. They're sort of unless it's like John Mulaney, I'm not very intrigued by them most of the time. But
that's the last one that I'm able to recommend to people. Like every comedy special that I've ever liked and watched all of, like the person behind it turned out to be a shitbag in some way.
yeah.
John Mulaney is the last good boy.
I guess Patton Oswalt is still okay.
Yeah, actually.
And his last special was fine, but it was also very sad because it was right after his wife died.
Yeah, comedy special.
Yeah. But no, I would recommend these. There's 3 episodes, three separate specials. It's a lot of fun. That's it for what we watched. Let's go ahead and get to the news, huh?
Oh boy. What happened, Swanson? Are we taking a deep dive into the grim world of television news?
Maybe. We'll have to wait and see on that. But first up, Kieran, it's Quibi!
Quibi! Connie, it's Quibi!
Yeah, it's Quibi.
Connie, are you aware of
say it properly.
Are you aware of Quibi?
Say it properly, Connie.
Oh, yeah, you just have to remind me a little bit more about it. Like, I heard about it. I know it's the best, but...
Yeah, well,
reiterate for
Quibi
me?
is, of course, it stands for Quick Bites. And it's short 7 to 10 minute episodes of content that are only available on your phone.
It's Quibi!
And ideally, you pay money for this.
Connie, say it properly. Connie, say it's Quibi!
Connie, we're really going to need you to say it.
It's Quib.
Yeah!
It's Quibi!
Quibi! Anyway, as you may know, of course, Quibi had some very woeful opening weeks, having only 300,000 active downloads in its first day. Terrible considering how many rich people are involved in the making of this. That number's gone up to 1.3 million active users lately, but that still doesn't stop stuff like them being accused of tampering with your data and other just general bad things like having to watch stuff on your cell phone.
And when I think of the people behind Quibi, I think of like a dramatic shot of a silhouette of a bunch of men in suits.
Wait a second. Is this a streaming service?
Yeah, Quibi is a streaming service directly for your phone.
Yeah, your phone only on your phone.
And they were baffled when this didn't work.
I don't know why.
Watching something on a phone is not something anyone does on purpose. You do it when your arm's twisted, like you need to pass a little bit of time.
Or you're like at work and there's no like TV or computer nearby.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all, but they greenlighted this and put a bunch of money into it, and
it's Quibi.
It's Quibi. Quibi executive Jeffrey Katzenberg, aka a guy who got ousted from Disney and was so mad that he went to a rival company and made the movie Ants.
That's a resume. Ants is like the most unappealing thing visually.
It's also worse now because Woody Allen's in that fucking movie.
Oh, shit.
Fuck. Can't have anything nice. Not even Ants.
I had one movie that was untainted. I thought it was only Good Boys.
No. Yeah, sorry to inform any Ants stands out there.
Stance.
Our follower, Mr. Ants Guy 420, is going to be really upset about these takes we're putting out there.
Yeah, I hope he continues to
fuck
listen.
That guy.
Oh.
I hope more movies and shows that he likes get ruined.
He's going to unsubscribe at this rate. We can't tolerate this.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
Okay. Yeah. To Mr. whatever your name is, I don't even remember the name.
Jeffrey Katzenberg, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Jeffrey Katzenberg, I'm sorry about what we said, and hopefully you can come on the pod next week, and we'll hash out our differences, and maybe one of us will commit ritualistic suicide and repentance.
Ooh, okay.
What?
Hope it's Stairmaster.
What kind of content was on Quibi?
There was like game shows. Reno 911 got revived briefly. I mean, it's still Quibi is still around. To be fair,
is that where Murder House Flip came from?
That's right, which was a real show and not a comedy show, in which people sell murder houses
in 10 minutes, presumably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's all going to be that short. That's, I don't know, like, mobile only.
Mm-hmm.
Was anything even exclusive to it? Like, is there no other place to watch Reno 911?
Well, not this specific new reboot of or revival of Reno 911. Reno-vival, if you will.
Yeah, I would the thing about this service that's extremely baffling is that you can get Netflix and put it on your phone if you really really need to.
Yeah, but no one wants to.
So, yeah.
Like, I think the last time I watched Netflix on my phone was like when I couldn't get to sleep, so I watched an episode of Cheers and then fell asleep halfway through. That's what Netflix is for. I Netflix and chilled to sleep.
I've Googled Quibi, which, thank you, Google autocorrect, for telling me how to spell it. And the top 3, like, results are just headline after headline after headline of, like, this thing sucks and is failing.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's like...
Yeah, Swanson's got another one of those for us right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Jeffrey Ansenberg told the New York Times recently that he thinks the launch of the streaming platform didn't work out as well as it could have because of the pandemic.
Yeah, the pandemic that's leaving everyone inside and forcing them to consume content is why this didn't work out.
That's right, yeah.
Well, they're inside, so they don't use their phones to watch content.
People are still hella on their phones inside their house.
They are hella on their phones. No, you know what? I'm defending Jeffrey Katzenberg. He's 100% right. It would have been a slam dunk, this thing that you can only watch on a tiny screen if everybody was outside all the time.
His reasoning on this is that most people are not on the go right now, and since Quibi is designed specifically for the mobile experience, this means that it was rendered useless.
But the sad part is that it was always useless because nobody wanted that.
Yeah, do you think if you were on the go on like the train or something like that, you would disrupt what is probably at this point a daily routine of yours of either, I don't know, watching a YouTube video or listening to a podcast or music to watch Quibi? Something that apparently you have to sign up for on your own volition and pay money for.
To watch things that you aren't able to pick up back later on the big screen at home.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a non-starter, and these excuses are pathetic. It didn't have to be exclusive. You could have had it where you could have it on the computer.
Yeah. Also, it's like...
You could just have another streaming service. No one cares.
It's the equivalent of like...
You could have 50 of them.
It's the equivalent of like Snapchat doing TV.
It's Quibi!
It's Quibi! Anyway,
Quibi.
The CEO of Quibi, Meg Whitman, is more optimistic than Katzenberg about all of this. She admits that the pandemic hasn't been helpful to growing the user base, but that it'll be better when the country reopens. Good luck with that.
I'm sitting at home every day just pissed off that I can't go outside and watch Quibi. I have to stand in here and watch normal shows on my TV.
Yeah, I was fuming the other day because I put on an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and watched it on my television when I should have been watching it rightfully on my cell phone, where it belongs.
Yeah,
and also in 10-minute chunks.
I want the only option to be short clips on a small screen. That's all I want.
Yeah, I want to be able.
The problem.
I want to be able to watch something for only 10 minutes at a time, and then wait another week for 10 more minutes of it.
This is a problem. The problem is that Quibi didn't go far enough.
Oh.
I think a cell phone is too big for this bite-sized
Put
content.
it only on Apple Watches.
This should have been exclusive. This should be exclusive to smartwatches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's your H. I can't watch anything on a smartwatch right now. Quibi could help.
You know, yeah, 5-minute bits on smartwatches.
It's too late, Jeffrey Katzenberg. You missed your boat.
Yeah, looks like it's time to wheel out Woody Allen and bring Ants 2 to the theaters whenever they open.
Look, I want Ants 2 on my smartwatch.
Ants 3 exclusive to Fitbit.
It's
Just hear the ant tell you to sweat.
it's the future, and it's Quibi.
Quibi.
But from failed streaming services to somewhat successful networks, the CW has sort of made a name for itself in recent years by being the home of every DC superhero television show that you could think of. Supergirl, Green Arrow, The Flash, you name it, it's on there. And recently, of course, the quarantine has made things pretty rough for everybody. And least of all networks like the CW, which now have to scramble to find content to make up for this late starting season that's going to be coming up. And CW has some ideas for that. What ideas, you may ask? How about airing a canceled television show?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, one that we've already covered, by the way, almost a year ago.
Uh-huh.
Swamp Thing.
This is so funny.
So
Just like a Swamp Thing was canceled so hard and so fast, and just shoved in a closet.
Yeah, Keo.
And then the second there's a slow season, you just like fling the door back open and push it out into the spotlight.
Now, Keo, do you remember
Wait.
what happened with Swamp Thing, or should I reiterate?
I've fully forgotten why it was canceled.
Last April, production was abruptly halted on the series, and they cut the first season short, and then released the episodes in June, and then promptly canceled it.
So what are they airing exactly? Did they produce episodes?
Well, yeah, we watched
that
it.
didn't
We
air?
watched the finished product of 8 episodes. We watched the first episode. I remember enjoying it. I think you instead disliked it intensely.
I didn't like it, but I don't think it was an intense dislike. It was just like, I don't like this.
Yeah, it was alright. From what I remember, I think the reason I enjoyed it more than almost anything else DC universe related that we've watched is because it had a lot of gross out moments, a lot of horror, like gross out horror moments that I thought was fun.
Yeah, I'm not about that. I like my shows to be nice and clean. I like nice clean shows, scrubbed clean with soap and water.
Yeah, Swamp Thing will be airing in place of whatever other shows you could possibly fill the time with. But it's not the only previously canceled show that the CW has acquired the rights to. Actually, I don't even know if this one's been canceled. But it is another show that we covered on this podcast a long way back in like episode 12, I think. Tell Me a Story.
Oh, God.
Keo, do you remember this? The episodes with Chekhov's pig?
I remember, and trying to think about it makes me just go into this kind of, I want to say, fever dream like state.
Yeah, for Connie, Tell Me a Story is a show that imagines fairy tales as psychological thrillers. But also, it's not an anthology, it's all happening at once.
And also, by fairy tales, we mean, for example, the three pigs are 3 armed robbers that wear pig masks or something. So it's actually not the fairy tale at all. It's just vaguely using their iconography for a stupid story.
What if The Wolf Among Us was only 10% as inspired?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what I'm getting out of this. Like,
yeah.
Like what? Like, I think Red Riding Hood just had like a red
There's
jacket.
literally a scene in the first episode where Red Riding Hood's like grandmother is like, "Don't forget your hoodie," and it's like a red hoodie.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, there's no more. There's nothing else to it. Like the story of Red Riding Hood does not play out at all. It's just like there's a female protagonist with a red jacket, and that's it.
Yeah, and
doesn't a guy filling in for the wolf creep on her at a club?
Yes, that's right.
I vaguely remember the episode. It's been a while.
Yeah, this was way back. This was in the beginnings. I think this was like November of 2018.
Oh, so about 12 years ago.
Yes.
In the new time span that we live in.
That's right. Which means that the CW is airing a 2-year-old show because there's nothing else to do with the time right now. this is a problem that networks are going to have to deal with this quarantine stuff going on. So we're going to be seeing a lot of just buying the rights to like bullshit from streaming services that no one watched.
That's so sad.
Speaking of CW, this will transition nicely into the next one because this one's also about them and about the shutdown. As we know, of course, the shutdown has forced a lot of film and TV productions to close down, which leaves us with a pretty bleak slate of TV in the future. We're going to have to get real creative, potentially.
Ooh, we can watch a lot of anime.
Ooh, yeah, we're going to have to get real creative. But yeah, since since COVID-19 has shut down a lot of things, this has led to Zoom-based reunion specials and massively truncated seasons. And of course, now the new 2020 fall season is going to be starting even later than before. And CW was the first ones to jump on that sort of wagon. Normally around this time would be upfronts, which is a time in network television where a bunch of TV executives get together and try to pitch advertisers on their next season of TV. Naturally, as you might imagine, that's not a thing that is currently happening because no one's really interested in meetings right now, getting together and looking at other people.
Disgusting, dirty people with their viruses on them.
So instead, CW president Mark Pedowitz, unfortunate last name aside, gave us the fall 2020 schedule, which will kick off in January of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
That's seems odd, but what can you do? The full season at that point will run through July or August, effectively jumping right back into the quote-unquote next season in October of 2021.
So this is like an any percent speed run for TV?
Yeah, I guess so.
Is that what that is?
I mean, it's like a TV speed run, yeah.
You should be excited.
Yeah,
this is content for you. Like this, everything that gets produced in this time span is going to be so rushed and low budget. And this is already the CW that we're talking about.
Yeah, notorious for their low budgets and rushing.
So I don't know. Like this is going to produce some gold.
Yeah, it's just we have to get there. I feel like the main thing I got out of this, and that you might get out of this, is that it showcases how antiquated the idea of a fall to like summer TV season is nowadays. How completely like useless the idea of it really is. Much like a lot of things with COVID-19, it's just sort of been proven how useless that is.
Well, we have everyone's moving to streaming now, and that's giving us some benefits of shows are learning that episodes don't have to be a half hour or an hour, or they don't all have to even be the same length. They could just be whatever length they need to be to tell that episode's story.
Yeah, they're slowly learning that some of the streaming services still decide to push out shows that give us an hour-long episode when half of it's like padding.
You Netflix.
But the issue is like the suits that fund and greenlight and actually organize the shooting of these, they're so entrenched and just doing it for the pre-streaming cable TV method of watching shows that nobody does anymore.
Exactly. I mean, I can't necessarily say that I blame them. After you've been doing something for close to 40 years, it's hard to sort of break the cycle, but you kind of have to at a certain point. Otherwise, what's the point?
They'll get to it one day.
Yeah, or they'll be forced into it, kicking and screaming.
By us, personally.
Yeah, we'll throw them in the TV tuner's van and take them downtown to TV jail.
I've successfully managed to never point my face in the direction of an actual CW show so far. It hasn't happened yet.
It's not
the actual shows.
It's not the TV. It's not that the CW has bad stuff on it. Although the stuff we've talked about on here, we have not been favorable to.
What I do always see is the CW cuts these 1-to-1 aspect ratio square built for Twitter
oh yes
trailers for their shows.
Yes, we talked about this on the podcast.
those are always so fast-paced and so baffling. They'll be like 5 seconds long, and I feel like I watched 2 minutes of
I
footage.
think the one we talked about on the podcast, if Keo remembers this, is specifically a clip from
Supergirl,
Supergirl,
right?
where so much happened
Yes!
in a 5 to 10 second clip that I felt like I aged.
It was disorienting.
Yeah.
And it also looked bad, too.
It looked atrocious. I needed more of it. Can they just become a network that just produces stuff for me to, like, retweet on Twitter?
They should be doing
'Cause it looks
Quibi.
bad?
That's what I was going to say. Quibi! That would be perfect.
CW, we found your new avenue.
We'll save both of these companies.
Yeah, it's the only way.
Little do we know we're going to lead to the apocalypse with this idea.
Yeah, we've created like the Antichrist of TV state networks and services.
Yeah, I'm just picturing like two guys in suits shaking hands, and then ominous music starts playing.
Like the clouds start darkening.
Yeah.
Suddenly there's a giant eye in the sky.
Yeah, and the guys look pleased with this for some reason.
So yeah, that means we'll have to wait until January of 2021 to get the new season of The Flash, Riverdale, the Walker Texas Ranger reboot that I forgot was a thing. Just called Walker.
What? Did you just say, I missed this? What did you just say to me?
That's right, there's a CW branded Walker Texas Ranger reboot that's debuting in a couple months' time, featuring one of the brothers from Supernatural.
No, it has to be Chuck, though. Not that I like him anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah. Isn't Chuck Norris like a super like gross guy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
he's like-
But like nobody watched that because they liked it because Chuck was there,
And
it made him feel good.
and all of that talk about Texas being below us at all times reminds me of the Twilight Zone, which reminds me that that's it for the news. And it's time for a segment near and dear to our hearts. It's Trailer Blazers. Hit the theme, Keo. God. Never gets old.
Yeah, I watched the trailer, and okay, I'm gonna get this out there. I don't want to be too harsh on this particular trailer because I don't think I've seen a trailer in the past several years that got me interested or excited in anything that I didn't already want to watch in the first place.
That's good. That's a good question to bring forth. Do trailers actually work in terms of getting you excited for a thing that you weren't previously aware of?
So for me, trailers don't work, but you know what does work? Is the little 2-second long trailer for the trailer. That's at the start of all fucking trailer videos now.
Oh, yeah.
Love those so much. I'm glad that all the videos have to have that now.
Yeah, just to make sure
Especially
that you
this
don't
one.
keep scrolling when it shows up in your Facebook feed or on Twitter or what have you.
You mean like that brief moment where they just flash like 50 images in your eyes for a few seconds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're at the end too now. Like I've seen a bunch of things where I've seen a bunch of these now where like a trailer will end with like 30 seconds of just one of the actors from the show just kind of like facing the camera and looking around.
Yeah. I also dislike watching trailers on YouTube where afterwards there's a little like, enter the Twilight Zone realm on YouTube. And they like show you like other videos that you might want to check out from twilightzone.biz.
Okay, with that out of the way, this is definitely one of the more nothing trailers I've seen.
Yeah, it feels like it's hard to make a trailer for an anthology show, and yet they make it seem even harder.
I mean, here's how I would do it. I would just have the host explain the show to me.
So you'd have Jordan Peele come in and say, imagine a TV program where each week weird thing happened.
Yeah, and maybe give me a couple of examples.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I guess that's a pretty good way of doing it. Yeah.
Instead of this, which if I watched this without knowing what the Twilight Zone was, I would just think it was just some show where there's a conspiracy.
Yeah. Connie, did this make you feel the same emptiness that Gilrain and I felt?
I just want to get in that like goop hole. That's all I thought.
Yo,
there's
you want to occupy that goop?
Yeah, there's everyone's surrounded, and there's like a tent, and then there's a big hole cut in the concrete. There's a bunch of orange goop in there, and people keep looking at it and falling into it and getting pushed into it. I'm just down for the goop show here.
Yeah, not to be confused with Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop Hole, available now on goop.com.
Okay, Connie, you need to expand on this for me because, all right, you say you want to get into the goop hole. Are you saying that you're interested in learning about the goop hole, or you want to physically occupy the space where the goop hole is?
Yes.
You guys know what my favorite animated film is? Spider-Man Enter the Goop Hole.
Ooh.
Great film.
Yeah, I mean, the goop hole here is it's definitely a goop hole. That's all I could really say about it. It looks maybe interesting for a minute.
There's a hole. There's some orange goop in it.
And I think that's probably all there is to it, right?
It's about 4.5 feet in, I guess, diameter. Is that all the way across?
Could you imagine if it was just that was it? It was just goop. It didn't do anything else. Like, imagine if there was
only hope
a hole filled with a substance we call goop.
What if someone fell into it on accident?
I mean, that would be a good Twilight Zone episode where there's a goop hole and people are investigating it for half hour, and then they find out it's just goop.
Yeah, that's the other major problem
there's nothing
with
to worry about.
This show. Twilight Zone, of course, we also a former episode of the show. I feel like once we get to enough episodes of the podcast, I'm just gonna have to say that about every show we talk about.
Yeah,
former episode.
Back in my day. Back in the ye olden days of 2019, we did watch this program.
But yeah, about a year ago, oddly enough, we did watch the Twilight Zone, and it's one of those ones that miraculously got a tune in because we were mildly okay with it, but it wasn't that great. See also our episode on the last season of Game of Thrones.
What would you do if that goop hole just showed up in the middle of one of the rooms in your house?
I'm looking at like a viral YouTube sensation there. I'd start filming it.
Goop Hole channel, 24/7 Goop Hole.
Goop Cam, Twitch Live all day, every day. You can donate Twitch bits and get people to tell you what to throw into the goop hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and if you give me like $10,000, I'll stick my hand in there.
Dang. Yeah. Now, how long would it take you before you decided to throw a person in the goop hole?
Well, if the donation said person, I mean, it would be wrong for me not to, right?
I guess ethically, yeah.
Okay, well, here's what I would do. This is the ethical thing to do. Don't at me. I would just go get a death row convict and do it with that person.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're so easy to get.
You don't need to do.
Yeah, you
don't need to do that. You can just throw me in there for free.
Connie, I don't know what kind of like strange things you're into.
No, it just looks comfy.
Yeah, they're saying they will be a willing experiment for this.
Connie, like, listen. At best, being in the goop is neutral. There's no way it's good.
What if I don't know. What if it's like
I'll
relaxing?
hedge my bets.
Like being in a pool of Jello.
Yeah, okay, maybe it's regenerative. Maybe like it'll like fix all your problems and you come out like a superhuman.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's just acid. Then I'll probably regret my decision.
Yeah, like...
Is that what you're going to say when you die from the acid? I regret my decision!
This is unfortunate for me that this occurred this way.
Yeah, I'll have to shut the stream down.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It looks like it's fine. We'll have to see how desperate we get later in the pandemic for us to be watching the Twilight Zone Season 2.
It's alright. God. I mean, did Season 1 have a goop hole?
True. If the goop hole is Episode 1, then we're definitely watching it.
Okay, yeah. Well, there you go. Tune in.
If the goop hole is Episode 1, then we're definitely watching it, and Connie has to come back to give their thoughts on this one.
I will. I'm not gonna watch season 1 first.
Well, it's an anthology. You're not missing anything.
Is it? It doesn't look like it. There's a lot of shots of this goop hole all through this trailer.
Season 1 definitely was anthology episode to episode. Season 2, I think this seems like a repeating narrative of some kind. Maybe it'll.
I feel like we would have heard about it already.
Maybe it'll focus on different characters each episode, but have some kind of connected idea or something. There's no
the connected idea is the goop hole. It's all about how everyone comes to discover it in their local town.
I think I find it mainly hard to believe because there have been so many remakes of the Twilight Zone and they've never done that it feels weird to start doing it now.
Well, they went with an hour format this time, so maybe.
Well, the original series also did that for a very brief time because it was ended up being bad.
Yeah, that didn't go well. They decided that was a good idea.
Also,
again.
all of the revivals have also been an hour format, which was a poor choice.
Oh, really? All of them? What are they?
Yeah, there was a revival in the mid '80s, which was an hour long, I believe, and then the second revival in the early aughts.
That one was called Tales from the Crypt.
No, this one wasn't hosted by the Crypt Keeper. It was hosted by Forrest Whitaker. It had a 1 hour format, but it was composed of 2 half-hour stories.
Not a real movement.
So I guess there's that. But
so yeah, that's a tune out on Twilight Zone season 2.
That's pretty much it. This was also this first season of the Twilight Zone was also made at the time when it felt like everybody wanted to have Jordan Peele do stuff. Like Get Out was super popular, and they were like, "We need to get him in this program." And
he did it.
Yeah, it turns out everything he touches doesn't turn to gold.
Yeah, it turns out when you're only like tangentially related to the product at hand, you're not actually like creatively involved. It doesn't really lead to good things. It doesn't yield the same benefits as, I don't know, maybe the entire thing. Anyway, this time around, luckily, this Twilight Zone season is coming out all at once.
Was it staggered before, even though it was on streaming?
That's right. Yeah.
I'm over that shit. Stop it.
Yeah, CBS All Access staggers their stuff for some reason.
Knock it off.
You're hitting them on the nose with the newspaper.
Quit it. People like to binge watch, and if they don't like to binge watch and they want to stagger it out, let them choose to do that.
Interesting.
And for me, personally, I want to binge watch a bunch of 10-minute episodes of things on my Apple Watch.
Oh, you're on your watch. Okay. That's a lot better than phone.
On Quibi.
Quibi!
It's Quibi! So yeah, it remains to be seen what's going to happen in this new season of Twilight Zone, but I can confirm that they are all individual episodes. So...
Alright, so an hour is too long for Twilight Zone, and it's been worse than the original run every time.
That's right.
Maybe Quibi should get some 10-minute Twilight Zone episodes going.
I think that's too short now.
Yeah, I feel like the half-hour format is like the niche for the Twilight Zone.
Fuck you. Twilight Zone exclusive to Vine 2. 6 seconds only.
You mean TikTok? That's Vine too.
All right, so...
It is.
So the first 2 seconds introduces the concept of the Twilight Zone episode, and then the second 2 introduces the conflict, and the third 2 seconds...
I didn't want to reveal this because I'm past the age where I should be on it, but I am on TikTok. And I can say that...
Predator.
That is not the case, categorically wrong. I can say that the best way to do a Twilight Zone on TikTok would be have something like weird happen, set up the premise, and then say like for part 2. Oh. And then you come back and like part 2 is there waiting for you.
Yeah, like if I get 10,000 likes, this will continue.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'm on board.
And then I don't know if you do that for part 3, but I've only really seen it done with 2-parters. I don't know how long you can stretch it out for, but no one's ever lost out on experimenting. It's not really.
I
a
think
saying,
they could do it like a 10,000 long chain of like this for continuing.
Yeah, like this for part 3. Like this for part.
Like this for part 900, 400.
That's a good TikTok account.
900, 400 is a number that just came inside my head.
Well, somehow. I guess 900, 400 is technically a number.
Yeah.
Just multiply them. That's fine.
Yeah.
Smush them together.
Math is fake anyways.
It's true.
Well, have you ever seen like a physical math?
No.
Got him.
Yeah, proven. All right. Well, that's it for Trailer Blazers. So let's move on into our main event this evening. We watched a show Connie picked. It's on Netflix. It's an anime. It's got furry stuff in it. It's called Beastars. And it was interesting.
Yeah, so we brought on Connie for multiple reasons, but also just because we're going to get a furry's perspective on this program.
That's tokenism, and I don't approve of it.
Yeah, well, is it really tokenism to get an expert in field to talk about a subject?
Also, is it tokenism when you specifically requested that we watch this?
No, I'm full of shit. That's my idea. I said, hey, watch this and then bring me on the pod for it.
And we did. And here you are.
We thought it was a great idea because, we need your voice to unpack this show and to let us understand what's appealing and not appealing to furries, which I think you're a representative of all of them, right?
Yes. Anything I say is actually legally applicable to any furry that you meet. And whatever my opinions are, you can make presumptions about the next one you meet that they're the same. Okay, and I will give you a little card that gives you a pass if you're wrong.
I also look forward to bringing you back on the pod to have a show that's specifically about NBs whenever that show ever gets made.
I'll try. I mean, there's shit. No, that's a video game. I played a video game that had an NB character in it recently. That's not TV.
Oh, there's lots of characters, but they're never like the main character.
Okay. Wait for a non-binary main character on a TV show.
I'm sure Netflix is cooking it up.
I think we're probably still a decent ways off from having that happen.
We can't really get we can't even get like a trans character in anything without them being like a side character that something tragic happens to.
Yeah. So this show. How about this show? Huh? So this takes place in a world where everyone's animals. There's no humans at all, evidently.
Yeah, this is Disney's Zootopia.
It is extremely Zootopia-like, but a little bit more flexible because you don't really notice this the first time you watch Zootopia, until someone points it out. There's no reptiles or birds or anything in Zootopia. It's only mammals.
Yeah, that is pretty odd. Dang. You're right, I never noticed that.
No.
Yeah. Now, in
this show, it does the same thing as Zootopia as well, where the species, the size of every character is actually relative to how big they should be to each other. So you got tiny mice walking around trying to not die in day-to-day life, which seems shitty.
Yeah, it seems like there's a huge problem with the system in general in this animal world.
Yeah, we have the dichotomy between carnivores and herbivores.
Yeah, in which herbivores are just constantly... I don't know if it's constant, but apparently they're getting eaten with enough frequency for it to be a taboo.
Mm-hmm.
And
don't do it. It's bad.
I have a dilemma with my lack of biology skills to be able to immediately identify which animals are and aren't carnivores.
I mean, all the characters where it's really obvious, all the main characters, they make it really obvious. It's like a wolf or a deer or a rabbit.
Yeah. It also seems to be that they're hanging out in separate groups from one another. So you make it...
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a big problem, but it was a little tiny bit distracting to me trying to make sure that the character I was looking at was an herbivore.
So what we open up with on this one is an alpaca gets murdered and eaten, which seems
Rest in peace.
Seems intense.
At school.
Yeah, by somebody he knew as well.
And everyone's obviously in shock over this. The drama club, which he was a member of, are preparing to honor him. And that's when I think that's when we get introduced to our wolf boy, right?
Yeah, he's kind of like up in the rafters, staring down at people.
Yeah, he's like WCW wrestler Sting, just sort of staring at people from the rafters.
It's being very normal, very regular up there.
Pointing a bat, getting in Hollywood Hogan's face.
Before we move on, actually, I recommended you watch the dub in this. Did you?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, pretty good dub, right?
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit.
The problem is that Wolf Boy you just mentioned, that like he's kind of our star here. He's Lego She in the dub, and he's Lego C in the subtitled version. Oh. And I look like an asshole every time I say Lego She, because apparently I'm the only person in the world that watched the dub.
So it's Lego C.
It's supposed to be like Bela Lugosi, I think.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
And it's weird that they changed it.
Yeah, that is weird.
Maybe does someone have a copyright on Bela Lugosi's name in only America?
It's like, I don't know why they changed it, because you couldn't... The name isn't a different word when it's in Japanese. You could just hear them say Legosi with it. So they just arbitrarily changed it, and I don't know why. There's not an R and L mix-up situation with that name.
This sounds like a JoJo style copyright issue where in the sub you can very, very clearly hear them say the thing that got changed.
Yeah, exactly.
But the subtitle says something different.
Now all of the other names are
it's like
the same.
Killer Queen, but it says Deadly Queen in the subtitles.
So, kind of yes, because the other characters are the same, except there's one thing that people do that pisses me off a little bit, that they'll say Lugosi, because that's correct. But then while English speakers are talking about the show, there's a character named Louis, and then an English speaker that watched the subtitled version of the show will say Rui, like with an R, just because that's how the voice actors are saying it. And it's like, it couldn't be more clear that it's supposed to be the English name Louis. And
it's Rui.
Yeah, they're copying like the Japanese pronunciation. That's a bizarre thing to do.
Yeah, that seems pretty... I'm not a fan. Hey, tune me out on that. So yeah, we get introduced to Lugosi, and he seems like a pretty down-to-earth wolf boy.
So Connie, I think now that we've talked about the characters briefly, let's look at the furry perspective on these character designs. Are they appealing?
Okay, I mean, some people don't like that they aren't more Zootopia-like, and that like they don't have really like animal proportions. These are explicitly and obviously furry character designs, or in Japan they would be called a kemono, like Kemono. That's essentially means furry in Japanese. That's these character designs. These are not cartoon animals. These are not for a general audience. Like it's clearly furry artists worked on this and made it for people that like that art style. So yeah, everyone looks
these characters
humanoid.
Have very clearly just like humanoid bodies, but just also animal heads mostly. And we're talking usually when I see furry characters, they like usually just have like they'll have like some kind of human hair or something on them, but these are just like straight up animal heads basically.
Yeah, there's no human hair going on here, which is fine. I mean, I think these character designs are cool.
Yeah, I like the character designs mostly.
Appealing. I mean, it's very deliberately furry, and I guess that's cool. It's different. That's what I think visually sets it apart from something like Zootopia.
Yeah. Now, of course, we can't talk about anything that you might be feeling about any of these characters because that would be weird. All of these characters are explicably... I guess since it's an anime, it sort of makes sense, but all these characters are underage.
Was this is this set in high school?
This is high school.
This is set in high school. Did you think it was college?
I did.
It seems like it's in college.
If you had,
it's high school.
To be fair, I knew about this going in because Connie had specifically told me. But if you had not told me, I would have assumed it was college.
So here's the deal with that, and I need furries to fucking control themselves a little bit. I'm on here as a representative, and I still need to say, knock it off. Hey, these characters, some of them are underage, some of them are 17, some of them are 18, some of them are 17 at the start of the show, and then 18 later because a birthday happens. Maybe if you're an adult person, don't draw porn of these characters. It's a little weird.
Yeah, sounds bad.
At the same time, I mean, the show is very, like, M-rated and mature, but, I mean, American media does that all the time. You know, I think it would be weird to pretend that characters or people in high school didn't fuck, but that's not for adults to look at and be like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that'd be no bueno.
So, yeah, furry representative or not, I'm not going to get on here and thirst about the cast of this show. Be unethical.
Yeah, even though we do in the second episode get rabbit boobs.
There are rabbit titties in the second episode of this show.
Yeah.
And then we
how do you
ascribe
feel
those
about
to
that?
Kyo.
Mm-hmm.
How do I feel? I don't know. I mean, we'll get there when we get there, won't we?
Yeah, so we get introduced to this popular deer boy. His name is Louis.
He's kind of
He's a
rude.
rude guy. Yeah. There's a whole thing where he's like kind of like trying to be the I guess they don't really talk about it in this first episode, which is another thing. It feels like this first episode sort of just lets you live in the experience, which is, I guess, fine, but also a little bit much to take in all at once there.
It is. This is one of those worlds that kind of builds just by showing you what it's like. You gotta pick up on things as you go.
Yeah. But there's a lot of high school drama going on with this one. And Louis sort of facilitates that by being sort of like
a dick.
The rich dick kid.
Yeah, he's rich and he's like pretty racist too.
Yeah, that's the thing I was wondering. There's a lot of like animal-based insults in this, which feels just like very racially charged, given that they're all just different species.
Yeah, like there's a goat who didn't memorize his lines, so he accuses him of eating the script.
That's going to be a running thread in this show. Like, this, I mean, we have a society right now where people are like racist just based on skin colors, but like they have different physical traits in a very, very dramatic way, and also different dietary needs, and sometimes one of the types of them just kills and eats the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty extreme.
No good.
So yeah, the society is a little racist.
So are we supposed to be getting now obviously you're in the community here, so you would understand or no, but are we supposed to be getting like traditional anime rivals / potential love interest vibes between these two?
Yeah, like what is the okay, so at some point Legosi, whatever, however you say his name, I don't even know anymore.
You got it right.
He's trying to leave the room, and Louis grabs his tail to like show dominance or something. How do furries read that?
Okay, There's a tweet I saw a while back that encapsulates it perfectly. So this scene shows the clash in their two personalities because Lugosi is a big, powerful wolf. He's strong as fuck and fast and intimidating. But in his personality, he's like a shy, anxious wreck that really wishes everyone would just kind of leave him alone. And Louis the deer is an herbivore. He's kind of physically weak, and he overcompensates for it with the most boisterous, arrogant personality he can put on. And yeah, in that entire scene, because he wasn't blessed with, like, you know, being born a wolf, he's actually really aggravated with Lugosi. He's like, "You're a wolf. Why don't you act like it? You're strong as fuck." And yeah, there's the tail grab to show dominance. Louis shoves his hand in Lugosi's mouth, and he's like, "Go ahead, bite me. I dare you."
Yeah, it's pretty...
The tweet that I saw was like, "There's no heterosexual explanation for this. There can't be."
Yeah, it's pretty explicit. And it's like...
Yeah.
and its undertones. But yeah, there's a lot of high school drama going on, and never more do we get more high school than when we meet Haru, the white rabbit, bullied by all of her classmates because she gets around.
Yeah, they are not a fan of her promiscuity.
Yeah, there's a lot of slut shaming going on with this poor rabbit girl, who, as I mentioned at the top, I didn't connect until we started recording, but I'm assuming the whole sleeps with a lot of people thing is just a rabbit deal, like a thing that people just like, oh, that's a rabbit for you.
It absolutely is. That's part of why she's getting bullied for it too. Like, it wouldn't be as bad if she was any other species.
Dang.
But since she's just meeting her stereotype, it just makes it twice as bad.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it do be like that.
Sometimes it do be like that.
So yeah, the majority of this first episode sort of takes us to the point where we first meet Lugosi, where he has a rabbit in his sights, and it turns out that rabbit is Haru.
Mm-hmm.
And she smells and feels tasty.
Yeah. Also, there's a moment where Haru mentions that, like, a lot of guys see her as pretty much. She elaborates that a lot of guys see her as a manic pixie dream rabbit.
A little bit. You know, I never considered that angle for her before now, but maybe. I'm not sure it fits super well if you watch more of the show.
Yeah.
Well, that's how she describes it, isn't it?
Well, yeah, she kind of describes it as them trying to solve their own problems via her, which is, the manic pixie dream girl.
Okay, yeah.
And then they wake up from it later when they realize that she is not the solution to their problem.
Which is what the actual end goal for any of those films or TV shows featuring that type of archetype would be.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, like, it's an interesting route to take, I think. But you're saying it doesn't hold up with future.
Well, they definitely do just say it and don't show it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we come full circle at the end here after Lugosi stands watch for Louis and who is this other character? Do you have a name for him?
The other actor guy?
The goat boy.
I don't know his name. Is he important?
Goatface.
I don't remember his name either, going to be honest. I've watched this, so you two have seen 2 episodes. I watched the entire season, but it was a while ago, and I didn't rewatch 1 and 2 for the show because I completely forgot about the recording. Go me.
That's fine.
Typical furry.
Lugosi, yeah, all the same.
Got me.
Yeah, so Lugosi's watching because Louis and Goatface Boy are rehearsing because Goatface Boy is replacing Tem, the murdered alpaca from the beginning.
Rest in peace.
He's looking out, and then suddenly something comes over him, and he feels compelled to chase down this rabbit that he sees.
He smells her.
Yeah.
And he very nearly just takes a big bite out of her head.
And then credits. And we open up right where we left off in episode 2.
But between these 2 episodes, there's something that was the intro at the start of season or episode 2?
I don't believe so. The intro is at the start of episode 2.
And they don't show the intro for episode 1, but for episode 2, they do.
So you saw the stop motion thing, right?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
There's a lot of fun animation in these 2 episodes.
They kind of mix with the medium a little bit. Like it is okay. So this is a 3D CG anime, which I usually don't like the look of, but it kind of starts to. I think it works really well in this. I think this is probably the best 3D anime I've seen in terms of how it looks.
It's definitely jarring at first. Like the only series I've seen that did a better job with 3D CG would definitely be the Berserk 2016 series.
Everyone loves that one gif of Guts walking away.
And Zod's hand transforming by being an overlay of the human hand, then the beast hand.
So, what you're saying is this is better?
Yeah, this is a lot better than that. I was being very ironic. Like, it was hard to say that with a straight face.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a little bit getting used to, I think. But by episode 2, I was sort of used to it. And, like, not in like I was broken down way. And like, this is actually appealing.
It is, but they play with it. Because, like, sometimes something will be hand-drawn. Or sometimes something will be not, like, CG anime, but just CG effects. And the intro is a really, really gorgeous stop motion piece.
Yeah, I appreciate that messing around with animation styles.
Like, that stop motion was, really, really smooth, really vivid, showed a lot, and it was very good.
I kind of wish they would do the whole show that way, except also I know that stop motion is like the most masochistic process ever.
Yeah.
So not really.
Somebody would die during the production of that.
At least someone would eat another person during the production of that.
Then all the rest of the crew would be like, "What are you gonna do, Predators?
Yeah, what can you do?
It's shitty. You gotta watch out."
So the second episode features more exposition, which I find a little weird, but that is sort of. Animes are kind of notorious for doing that kind of stuff because they want to get you hooked in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Something that maybe pilots of regular TV shows in America ought to understand. You can save the exposition for a little bit. We don't need it all up front.
Yeah, just get us invested first, and then we'll be willing to sit through your exposition.
Yeah. And we learn all about the Beastar and how there's different like dietary menus on the. We learn a little bit more about the inner workings of the school, pretty much.
Also, when you finally do give us the exposition, at least show it to us in a way that's kind of interesting looking.
Like how they do here.
Yeah.
Do you think they did it well here?
Until they talk about the Beastar, yeah.
Okay, the Beastar thing is super weird, and spoiler alert, it feels very Japanese, that entire concept. They barely touch on that again going through the rest of the season. But the Beastar, I guess, is just like, I don't know, something like class president.
That's what it seemed like.
It's
but
like,
also,
it's like it's the school Hokage.
it's you know what? It's the school Hokage. There we go.
Yeah, that tracks. You know what? That tracks. I'm into it. But yeah, we go back to Legoshi's. He almost takes a bite out of Haru, but then only injures her arm and lets her escape thanks to the timing of Goatface.
Mm-hmm.
The next day he can't get over the fact that he like almost ate someone, which fair.
I don't know. That's a problem in this society. Like, we don't have to deal with that, except for like maybe a very small subset of people, I guess. but most people don't just see another person and also see a burger.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, you say most people, but I think there's a good chunk of the population who'll deal with that,
Or
right?
You said chunk, and now I'm thinking of burgers.
Burgers, chunks of
Chunks
them.
of burger.
Like, I don't know, like I almost ate Swanson.
Yeah, that was
What?
a dark time. To be fair, I was covered in butter. And
Why? How did that happen?
well, I was making toast, and
As you do.
yeah, and my shirt was off, and I was like, "Hey, Keo, get a load of this." And I like slathered a little bit on me, but then like it was hot because it was next to the toaster oven, so then it sort of just slid all over me.
Yeah, and then he picked up more butter, and he was like, "Man, this feels good." And he started like slathering it all
Yeah, I
over
went,
himself, and I was just, and yeah, I was like, I grabbed my knife and fork and I lunged.
Yeah,
at
next
him.
thing I know, Keo's trying to lunge at me, and I'm just buttering myself up. Luckily, the butter was made me like very slippery, very hard to hold on to.
Yeah, he escaped, and after 3 years of rehab, I'm officially clean.
Yeah. Now I can rub butter on my supple chest right now, and Kyorain won't even flinch. Mainly because we're in a Zoom
I
chat.
haven't had
but-
that therapy, though.
Yeah, I mean, if we were in person, Swanson, I might relapse.
Yeah. Well, what was that, Connie?
I mean, I haven't had the therapy Keo has, so you're still at risk.
Oh, so you're saying I shouldn't be slathering the butter onto my chest right now?
I'm sorry. I mean, predators I gotta get my protein. It's a problem.
Swanson, Connie's track your location.
I'm much more afraid because Connie lives way closer to me than you do.
I've physically been over there.
Yeah. This is
Yo,
I've gotta go.
We have to finish the podcast, Swanson.
Those are the rules. So yeah, yeah.
That is kind of what Lugosi's like whole mechanic is like, and what they depict predators feeling like is, if you think of the cartoon image of like, I don't know, Wile E. Coyote looks at the Roadrunner and just sees like a baked turkey,
Yes.
or whatever, that kind of thing. The show is kind of like, yeah, what if they actually felt that way? What are the realistic implications of a society where 50% of the population always feels that way about the other 50%?
Yeah, like their diet is not vegan, but it's like vegetarian, where they're being fed, plenty of protein and all that, but not actual meat.
Yeah, they got to get it elsewhere. They have to get it from some other means.
There's another thing.
I almost want to talk a little bit about a later episode in this. Yeah, I don't know. It's not what we covered, but there's an episode later in this that is entirely just about the role of eggs in a society, because, like, there are girl birds and they lay eggs all the time, whether they're fertilized or not. And most of them sell them because, number one, it's money, because carnivores buy them. And number two, it probably keeps society from collapsing. Because
when I saw that they served egg at the cafeteria, I'm like, of course they sell egg at the cafeteria, but what kind of eggs are those? What's going on?
they're from other people. There's that whole episode is like from a woman chicken, and she just sells her eggs, and it goes into why I don't know, carnivores are they're gonna get their fucking protein.
Gotta get that protein.
One way or another.
One thing about carnivores you gotta know. They're gonna get that protein.
They're gonna get it.
So I think one of the things that interests me about the second episode, which I liked a good bit, the first episode was good. It was a good set piece, but the second episode is really what got me interested. Is because it does a typical anime thing of getting you inside the character's mind frame, but it does it in a much more realistic manner.
Yo, being inside Legoshi's like social anxiety brain, where he shuts out all outside sound and people are talking to him and he's just talking to himself in his head.
Yeah, it's very good.
is really well done.
Yeah.
For like a really excruciatingly long time too.
Yeah, and like the whole thing at the end here, which we'll get to in a little bit, where he's with Haru and he's just only thinking out loud and not paying attention to what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. But yeah, for the main drama in this episode, it involves at first there's a cafeteria fight which Lugosi breaks up and causes an outburst that Louis has to intervene in. I appreciate that every time Louis shows up, there seems to be like a couple people in the background just sort of cheering on Louis.
Oh yeah,
he's a powerful figure.
People get wet
running the school.
Yeah, when Louis shows up, it's the splash zone.
It fucking is though.
It reminded me a little bit of like Japanese pro wrestling, where when there's a lull in the crowd, you'll hear one of them just like root for the most popular one. Like you'll hear a lot of like female Japanese ladies in the crowd just shouting for like someone.
Louis.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, you hear like Louis.
Yeah, like how we do with Quibi.
Exactly. Let's
Quibi.
That's what I'm always rooting for Quibi. Even though they're down and out right now, I know they can make the comeback.
They're
going to make the comeback, and they're going to give us a big cash payout for supporting them through their hard
Jeffrey
time.
Ansenberg is going to come in here, and I'm sure he really liked all the remarks we made.
I don't know what you're talking about. I had nothing nice to say about Quibi the entire time. Quibi's over. Quibi's got heat, and you don't know it yet.
Oh, Quibi's in the doghouse.
Connie, come on. Come on, we're trying to get a paycheck here, Connie. Come on.
Massive heat for Quibi. So yeah, Lugosi starts Louis breaks up the fight, gets everybody to calm down. Lugosi's like, thanks, I guess. And that's when he eventually, I think, he goes and has to get roses, right, with a shy guy.
Yeah, they needed roses for their
play. And that's when he meets Haru. And he thinks that Haru still recognizes him, but she actually doesn't have any recollection of the events.
Okay, I have a big aside here. So the guy who goes with him is an anteater, right?
Yeah.
And he acts like he's an herbivore, right?
Okay, so the thing about that is that bugs aren't anthropomorphized.
Okay, so they're still treated as herbivores even though they're not.
That's like the thing. That's like the only thing that I can think of. Like that's the animal kingdom category that didn't get to walk around on two legs in this show.
What about like whales?
Bugs are still just bugs. I think there's some like aquatic things going on.
Oh wow!
In this show.
I guess if you add in bugs, then things start getting like weird and gross.
Besides
tiny men.
And they would also be like physically tiny because like you saw the mice in the cafeteria who like they have to walk near the walls because they will get stepped on and killed by normal foot traffic if they don't.
And let's face the facts here, guys. Most bugs, pretty fucking gross.
I don't agree. I love bugs.
There'd also be like trillions of them like underground.
Yeah.
That is a little upsetting.
Like, could you imagine if there were, like, okay, you know what? I would make an exception for, like, spiders, if there were, like, spiders hanging around, but then the problem would be that they would obviously be, like, evil. Everyone would just assume that the spiders are evil, because they would eat...
Well, they would be predators, but they'd be, like, mini predators.
Yeah, predators who catch you and then just slowly digest you.
But they'd be too small, too. I guess maybe not for the mice, depending on, like... If it's like a tarantula or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, that's terrifying. I don't like that.
Yeah, imagine, if you want to workshop bugs into this setting, you have to understand the implications for the people that were unfortunate enough to be mice when tarantulas exist.
Yeah. Dang.
That's garbage. And just the whole premise of having, large masses of people who are really tiny and in crevices is just too much world building to do. I think.
Did they ever show like that mice just sort of live in like hovels and stuff? Like,
No, I don't think they do. I mean, well, season 1, but the manga that this is adapted from is much further along. I bet they've gone more into it, but I don't know.
Yeah, so most of the second half of this episode involves Lugosi and Haru meeting and sort of getting to know one another. And Lugosi seems pretty smitten.
His inner monologue is just like, man, I just like keep looking at her and watching her and thinking about her, and I just want to hang out with her like all day, like forever. And she's like, yeah, can you help me move these like flowers? And he's like, yeah, sure.
And like,
he almost ate her the previous day.
Yeah, that seems pretty wild. Like if I had almost eaten somebody the next day and I met them and they didn't have any recollection of it, I would want to get out of there as quickly as possible.
Which he did at first.
It's true.
But that anteater was like, I got the jump on him and left quickly.
That's a very good comedy bit, by the way, where the anteater's just like, oh, I got stuff to do. See ya.
Like the exact wording he was going to use as well.
And it seems to be a situation where he knows who she is and doesn't want to be around her because of her reputation precedes her.
Yeah, she fucks.
Yeah, this rabbit gets down.
She fucks everybody.
This rabbit gets down.
He does not want to be a part of that.
And this apparently this anteater is Volcel, and he does not want any of this rabbit.
He's too powerful.
He has to reserve his manly energies. His masculine energy must be conserved. So yeah, they have like a conversation or whatever, and she's like, well, listen, maybe I should like take you out. So what do you eat? And he's like, oh, I can't say that. That'll make her like, they'll freak her the fuck out if they say that I eat meat.
A ton of this conversation is just like, she says something that has a pretty mundane, simple answer, and then he spends like 10 seconds trying to come up with something to say that doesn't terrify him to say.
And the thing that I love is that it's in the world probably 10 seconds at most, but it plays out in like a minute.
Yeah, it feels bad. It's super fucking awkward every time.
And she's just talking, and he's not answering, and he's just staring at her and sweating and thinking.
Yeah. And then the next thing you know, she's in her underwear.
Yeah, she just assumes that the fact that he's not answering and staring like that means he wants some sex.
Yeah, he wants the carrot on the pole. That's what rabbits call it.
Yeah. And I don't know if he wants sex or not. I can't tell.
I don't think.
Does the episode end right there without resolving that scene? I can't remember.
I think they don't resolve the scene, but he definitely does not look into it.
Well, he looks surprised.
Yeah, I guess they could just have the next scene being him being like, all right.
I mean, he's clearly into her, but I don't know if that it's just a kind of like a fascination at this point, more so than like.
Well, let's play a scenario out here, Kyorai, and let's say that you're hanging out with someone and they're, you're starting to like feel like they're pretty cool, like you like hanging out with them, and then they immediately disrobe in front of you.
Well, it depends on what do you mean by kind of cool, but if it's like a girl and I'm staring at her for an hour and like licking my lips,
as you do. As you do.
Yeah, who hasn't looked at a lady and licked their lips because they want to bite into their flesh?
You're just hanging out with someone new and they're trying to talk to you, but you can't really hear what you're saying because you're too busy like pointing a fork and knife in their direction.
Yeah, it's so rough.
Yeah, in that scenario, I would not be like too surprised if they disrobed. It's like, whatever.
Yeah, more flesh to eat.
Yeah, but if it was the way you phrased it and we're just hanging out, I would be shocked and confused and aroused.
Okay, so arousal is a thing. Just making sure here.
Check.
And that is pretty much where we end these two episodes. Do you want to get some final thoughts going here?
This is the best kind of cliffhanger.
Will they fuck?
That is, yeah, that's
what show has come up with this one before?
Any sitcom from the 90s.
Yeah. So I mentioned at the start of this that you might be kind of surprised by how I feel about this show. This show, okay, I'm the furry on the podcast. I demanded that we cover this show.
Ad nauseum, yes.
Okay, if I were to actually make what I saw in those 2 episodes a 2-episode test, I actually wouldn't have followed up on it.
Really?
I find like the predator prey thing a little bit tired, especially after Zootopia.
Yeah, true.
It doesn't have any broad plot going on. It's these first 2 episodes are kind of just introducing the characters, and I like them individually. It's building the world a little bit, but there wasn't anything that... It almost seems like by this point, the murder mystery aspect of the alpaca that was murdered was almost completely dropped.
There hasn't been any follow-up on that, really.
And at the end of the 2nd episode, I, who should be magnetized to the show, was like, I don't really know. I'm not sure if anything's hooking me about this show. Other than, I don't know, the characters seem kind of likable, but I don't really know where it's going with them. If I was actually doing a blind tune in, tune out judgment, I might have said tune out against my better judgment.
That's shocking to me. I'm what the Brits say. Brits call gobsmacked right now.
Absolutely gobsmacked, mate.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is going to be a situation where the 2 of you were leaning towards tune in, and the furry on the show said tune out.
Oh well, I'm definitely going to lean towards a solid tune in on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm also leaning towards tune in. Those things you mentioned are sort of there, but I also don't really feel like... I kind of like the getting to know the characters a little bit more while the plot sort of slowly coalesces around them. That's a thing that I feel like doesn't happen a lot in modern television, at least not in the Western version.
Also, I did not watch Zootopia, and I am not engaged with any kind of predator-prey discussion whatsoever, so it's not tired at all.
That's true. It's also been a long time. I've only watched Zootopia when it came out, so it has been a long time for me as well, so that might also be a factor in this.
But I have to twist it one more time and say that I'm glad that I didn't drop the show, because I did go on to watch the rest of it, and immediately in episode 3 and onward, it became a show that I liked more and more and more with every episode. So, for me, it didn't pass the 2-episode test. It passed the 3-episode test, and it's a tune-in.
Well, that's a customary test, but it's hard to give that test for an hour-long format.
Yeah, it's hard in general. I think a lot of people who might think that we are very harsh critics have watched most of the show and are thinking of the show after they've seen all of the episodes and not the first one or the second one, however many we watch in a given episode week, depending on the hour long. But I think a lot of time, I think what TV Tuners shows more than anything is that a lot of times shows fail to get people interested in the first episode nowadays.
Very badly. So, I mean, I can't remember we talked earlier about questioning whether or not trailers even work.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the issue with that is, like, how many tune-outs have we had? Way more than tune-ins, generally, on TV Tuners, right?
That's right, yeah.
So, a little bit puzzling for a show that's allegedly TV fans for the, true fanatics. Right. But, like, a lot of shows... Of course trailers can't get people in. A lot of shows can't get people in with entire episodes now.
Yeah, and a lot of that, there's so many reasons that we would have to do a whole nother podcast on why that is, but, like, this show was successful in getting me in 2 episodes, and I think that's an achievement of sorts.
That's something TV shows should be able to do.
Yeah, the idea is that you want to hook people in the first episode. That seemed to be a thing that they were capable of doing until, I guess, until binge watching was a thing. And
well, I didn't binge watch this because I watched the first 2 episodes and then I put it down for like a month.
Yeah.
And then I just came back and blew through the remaining 8, I think.
Now, I know Keo is sort of a binge watcher when he finds the time to binge something, but I am usually not. I think I'll watch like an episode or 2 of something a day and then call it.
Yeah, well, what I do is I either binge it or I just don't watch it.
Keo's a binge or no watcher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, binge or bust.
Binge or bust.
I'm 100% on board with that.
That's a t-shirt right there. Anyway, that's a tune in on Beastars.
Tune in on Beastars.
Yeah, go give it a watch. I think you'll be thoroughly entertained. And I think we never really said it here on the show, but I don't think it's fair to call it a furry show. It's pretty entertaining, even if you're not into that sort of subset.
Yeah, I'm not a furry, and even among furries, these designs are not like particularly appealing to me. But it's entertaining. It's just got solid stuff going on, an interesting world, likable characters, all that stuff.
Well, I'm glad. That's pretty much the bullet list I was gonna hit on. I like the characters in this show. I think the world building is probably the strongest aspect of it, and to get more into that, you need to watch more of the show, which sounds like you're going to. So
now,
yeah, it's on my list here,
which you make such good progress on all the time.
Oh yeah, I've watched all the Marvel Netflix shows.
What a joy that was. Speaking of not hooking you by the first episode.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about those. They're just very easy to sit down and watch, I guess.
Yeah, to zone out or do other things while they're playing in the background. Well, Connie, that's been it for this episode of TV Tuners. Do you have anything you want to tell the listeners about?
This plugs time?
Plug.
Okay.
This is guest only plug time.
I'm honored. You can find me on Twitter if you want. That is at synthconnie.
Careful.
Dangerous. No, pretty much my entire Twitter feed is only 2 things. It's safe for work furry art. It is yelling about socialism being good. And it's plugging my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/tankcontrols.
Where they stream. I still haven't grasped the streaming schedule, but they stream video games and it's entertaining and always seems to happen when I'm busy.
Yeah. I wish I could watch more of it, but I can hardly recommend it. Connie is a great streamer, and it's always fun content, and also fun people hang around that chat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a Twitch stream that I would describe as #ChillStream, that would be
That's
it.
right. Yeah.
I'm so glad I can be a #ChillStream.
And that'll about do it for this week's episode of the show. We'll be back next week with more TV goodness. Until then, keep watching. Bye. It's over.
I like a bread sandwich, please.
No.
Alright, and with that, it's time for the TV Tuners Fact of the Week. Did you know that Connie has once aimed a sniper rifle at Stairmaster, but didn't pull the trigger for some reason?